Now, the great psychologist William James once observed that common sense and a sense of humour are the same thing. A sense of humour is just common sense dancing. Not if you work for the Advertising Standards Authority, apparently. It's not. These custodians of all that is decent, truthful and honest have decreed that an advertisement for beer which used the slogan "Take courage" must never be used again because it suggested that drinking beer could increase confidence. I'll be talking to the boss of the organisation shortly. Before that, though, this obviously counts as part of the brief for our culture correspondent, Stephen Smith.
Ethical man over already? Better shove a Newsnight ad break on then. Wake up, have a look at this and see if you can tell what's wrong with this picture. Well, according to the Advertising Standards Authority, 3 members of the public believed the poster implied that the beer would give the man confidence to either make negative comments on the woman's appearance or take advantage of her. The ASA said, although we understood the humorous intention of the scenario, we concluded that the poster breached the code by suggesting that the beer could increase confidence.
Now listen, should I have worn my hair up?
Older viewers may think the ad campaign owes a debt to a certain BBC comedy sketch.
No, listen, come back, I want to know. I need to know the truth. Does my bum look big in this car?
It's about men. They've been in that situation where their wife says to them, does my bum look big in this? And the answer is, of course, no. And the advert is trying to suggest to males they'd rather be down the pub drinking a pint of courage than in fact involved in that conversation with their wife or their partner.
Detailing.
Over at RKCRY&R, not an unplayable hand at Scrabble, but a leading ad agency, they were accused of sexism over a campaign for an airline, though in this case the ASA found in their favour.
People can take a joke. I think certainly the UK advertising industry is one of the best regulated, and we have to be very careful we don't offend, we don't make any claims that we can't substantiate. So to a degree, it's very effective that it's so heavily policed. But occasionally it's possible for the cries of people saying that they are offended to be perhaps unfairly loud.
It's a far cry from the days when advertising men were madmen, and drinks ads seem to come with a dash of old-school assumptions.
Dubonnet blonde. Gentlemen prefer Dubonnet blonde.
This advert doesn't seem to me sexist or demeaning to women. It shows the man is a bit of a wimp. I think the fact that the ASA have got upset about it, they seem to be aware that there's a sensibility about anxiety, about the way women and women's bodies are used in advertising, but they don't seem to know what that is. A few years ago, they got upset about an advert that showed Sophie Dahl, a very beautiful naked picture of Sophie Dahl looking like an odalisque. And they didn't like that advert and it had to be taken down from billboards. And neither of these adverts seem to me in any way offensive.
So has the ASA acted wisely to ensure alcohol is promoted responsibly, as in this classic ad? Or has today's ruling been a poor advertisement for the authority?
Well, with us now, the Advertising Standards Authority Director General Christopher Graham. You do get this is a joke, don't you?
Jeremy, there are so many issues here. This is a very simple issue. It wasn't about offensiveness. It's about a breach of the advertising rules. We have very strict rules about advertising. Each drinks company has to stick to them. Somebody got out of line, the ASAs pull them back into line. That's all it's about.
Right. And the problem you found with this was that it encouraged the belief that alcohol could have an effect upon you.
No, the rules were strengthened in 2005, and one of the rules was very clear. Ads can't claim that alcohol has a therapeutic effect, that it can change moods and enhance confidence.
Well,
and that's what this ad does.
Okay, so let's look at that. You may feel that this also part of the same series. It has exactly the same effect.
If it's part of the same campaign, the problem is
it's a bit
of heritage. Take courage. It's like Guinness is good for you. You could do that a few years ago. You can't do it now.
Have a beer, and you can
rules.
cope with your granny knitting you a horrible jumper. That's what this one is
The problem
saying.
is take courage, and taking courage is a breach of the codes. And the advertiser knew that. The agency knew that.
The problem is the name of the beer.
No, it's the way they're advertising it. They could perfectly easily...
Well, let's look at the
promote-
next one. I mean, the next one shows, here's a man about to be intimately examined. Take courage, a perfectly reasonable
it's
thing
a
to
si-
think under the circumstances, isn't it? You think he'd rather be down the
Yeah,
pub?
but look, advertising has to operate within some constraints. There's concern about binge drinking, underage drinking. The rules were tightened, and we've got to keep a level playing field to make sure that each drinks advertiser can compete fairly. These guys got out of line. They've been put back in
What
line,
I didn't
that's all.
understand is your own clause 56.8. Advertising should not suggest that any alcoholic drink can change moods or enhance confidence, etc.
Yes.
In that case, all the government's Christmas drink driving campaigns are invalid, aren't they?
No,
That's
because-
precisely what they
no.
suggest.
One's simply saying that if advertisers wish to have the freedom to advertise responsibly, they've got to stick to
But
the
it's
rules.
true.
If they don't, the
Alcohol does
alternative
change
is
your mood.
The alternative is to ban all alcohol ads, to have no ads on television before the 9 o'clock watershed, and each
By your
advertiser
code,
and their
we should.
agency has to wake up, smell the coffee, and realise stick to the rules, or you're in deep trouble. Not
But
with
the rule's
ASA,
ridiculous
but
here.
with ads being banned. It's about the freedom to advertise responsibly. Stick to the rules, you can go on doing it. Breach the rules, you can't.